So, hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Good
Mr. Hotel.
afternoon.
A very warm welcome to our 14th webinar on as a part of our Community Connect program, which is and we call as Logical Talk. This is the 14th talk show on from our team. And Today we are going to discuss about a topic which is going to be a very soon, as we understand, may become a very required discussion for all of us. Before I jump on to talking about talking about the agenda in detail today, a very a very quick introduction to Lawrbit as an organization. So Lawrbit is a SaaS-based service provider. We are providing a regulatory compliance management solution, and I'm sure most of you would be knowing about us today. We've been hearing and talking to each other for more than a year now. So we provide global regulatory compliance management solution, which wherein our SaaS-based solutions, they come embedded with the regulatory know-how for thousands of laws in India and globally. We help you be better compliant with all the laws which are applicable on your business across the spectrum of laws and across industries. Today, we are working with around 300 plus entities in India and globally across 36 plus industries. And our team of lawyers and legal experts, they are providing, they are building their global regulatory intelligence and providing regulatory updates on a real-time basis. If you're already using a compliance solution, great. If you're not, if you're still looking for a compliance solution for your organization, happy to connect on this. With this note, let me move forward to our agenda, to introducing our speakers for today. I have with me Mr. Vittala Rao. Mr. Rao comes with more than 36 plus years experience of in the industry. He has been in the HR domain. I would say very close to when I was a toddler. He started in the HR domain, and Sir carries has worked for almost like 20 years in Kirloskar Electric, and then in Coits before he started his consulting firm KVR Management Services, where he is providing various services related to HR and compliance. He carries with him a lot of experience of actually dealing on the ground on various HR issues. And during our interaction, what I loved about Mr. Rao is that the depth in he has about the subject is amazing. The way he explains those subjects to anyone, it's that it's quite a experience to understand the subjects from him, and I'm sure we have a lot to learn from him today. With me also have my friend Jeeva. So Jeeva, and as we have been working for for many years now. While Jeeva again comes with around 24 plus years experience in the industry, he's worked across sectors. Today he is working with renewable power sector with Radiance Renewable, wherein the entity, as you understand, the power sector has a very complex structure in terms of legal entities, in terms of the sites. There are almost like 300 plus sites spread across India, wherein all the compliances related to HR, EHS comes under him, his domain. So he has a very solid grip of the subject. And happy to have both of you on the discussion today, Jeeva and Mr. Rao. And we look forward to an engaging discussion.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
As a part of our discussion, what we are going to cover today, a very brief introduction about the labor codes. I'm sure you attended our previous webinar on code on wages as well. So a bit of an introduction was given there, but again, a bit of a reiteration. And talking about the laws which have been subsumed in the framework of the code. What are the objectives and aims which government is trying to achieve from the Social Security Code? While I'm saying there is a lot of information and misinformation on this subject, we will try and at least make things more binary in our discussion today, because as we are seeing right now, I think the government looks to be serious about implementing these codes now, because over the last couple of years while we were hoping, but I think the political issues were there, the will and the support. But as the recent events have happened, I think we are going to have we may end up seeing these codes being implemented very fast soon. Uh, Going deeper into some of the key definitions, because that's one of the key areas government is tried to address, while some assuming all the codes are here and coming of the new codes. What are the coverage of the laws which have been subsumed? What are the employer obligations and key compliance obligations? We've also tried to cover on the bit on the offenses and penalties. While I would say these may still evolve as the rules may get written, or we are also expecting us Jan Vishwas 2 to come in. So those may have an impact on these offenses and penalties. But what is it is today what the government is talking about. And then we'll also have tried and captured some of the queries which have come from the users to us, in your registrations. We'll try to address those. And in between, I would request everyone, if you have any queries, please feel free, as you have I've always done, keep writing on your Q&A chats. We will try and address those queries towards the end of the session as well. So with this, I'll invite Mr. Ram and Jiva to start the discussion.
So, thank you all for having invited me to join this discussion today on a very, very important subject. A very important subject. First of all, I would like to take you through how the labor codes came into proposed and coming into effect. What is the entire background and what is the main objective of the entire thing? I'm just going to give a brief introduction to the entire thing. Now here, they are part of course, labor reforms, as we normally say, the part of labor reforms. The moment we hear the word labor reforms, everybody gets interested in, everybody becomes anxious. Industry looks for, they look for higher growth in economy, generation employment, enhanced standard of living, all those things the government looks for. And the trade unions look for, their rights and privileges. They want more rights and privileges, job security they want, guarantee of employment, enhanced wage benefits, health and safety, whatnots. Now, if business looks for foreign direct investments, they look for this, and return on investment, then compete with globally. That's exactly what is today. And remuneration, incentive and bonus to employees, and adequate legal support to all these things they look at. Ideally, all these three hold together must be an act of balance. Normally, you see, it's our experience. Every year, with the finance minister presents the finance budget, invariably the word labor reforms come on, one sentence is made in the speech. The moment the labor reform word is mentioned, everybody becomes active. Then employers organization, they try to push their thing what they want. Trade unions, they want to push their thing what they want. But trade unions will, many times they say we will not accept any reforms if it is against the workmen and trade union, we will not accept. So this kind of thing goes on. So the debate goes on for 1 or 2 months and the whole thing is forgotten and the entire year is gone. The word is gone. Nothing has been done. Then next year, same thing happens. Next year, same thing happens. Now this is exactly what's happening. If you look at the labor reforms, we can see that it is as a continual process and it is as old as 1931, when the British were ruling India. The Royal Commission had, under the chairmanship of John Henry Whiteley in 1931, they formed. Because what is the background with that? At that time, the situation of labor was very, very low in the sense that there was no security for job. There was no even health and security was totally ignored. Payment of wages was not proper. Payment of working hours, no limitations. We work for 12 hours, 13 hours. There is no age for employment, even child labor, women labor, whatever it is, it was there. And also at that time, we had this interconnected with the fight for independence. So there were a lot of unrest, labor unrest, and industries were facing a lot. Everybody was facing a lot. There was no money. So the condition of labor was very, very pathetic at that time. Pathetic. So considering this, the Royal Commission was formed in 1931, and then they gave a certain task to them. They said, please study the uh, position of labor everywhere to inquire into and then come out with your suggestion. In fact, the Royal Commission, they did a good job, I should say, they did a good job. They went around the country, they met a lot of people, they traveled everywhere, they gathered all the information and then finally submitted to the, what you call, the central government uh, at London, and it came forward. The conditions factory, as I said already, was very pathetic and bad. Hence, the Labour Commission, as a Royal Commission, came with a fantastic proposal of bringing in a round of recommendations to bring restrictions on on the employers to obey certain things, to restrict certain things. On account of that, we have seen almost about important 13 legislations were enacted after the Commission's report came, like for instance, Minimum Wages Act, the Payment of Wages Act, the Factories Act came into picture, Industrial Disputes Act, then Mines Act, ESI, PO, the Working Generalists Act, and Motor Transport Workers Act, Maternity Benefit Act, BD and cigar workers, all these laws were brought into effect. The idea is to restrict the exploitation of labor everywhere. So this is the idea of the labor commission. This is how the whole thing is started with the Royal Commission of Labor. Now afterwards, soon after the independence came, we have seen that the government of India launched 5-year plans, various 5-year plans. The intention of the government of India was to provide employment and to give employment. They invested money on lot of public sector undertakings. Everywhere, all over the country, you know that many public sectors have been formed and employment was given to them. This is how it started. But at the same time, what happened was that there are a lot of restrictions on the private entrepreneurs because if everything was restricted in the sense that if they want to expand their activity, unless they seek permission from the government of India, they can't do it. If they want to introduce new product, same thing. Lot of things for industries were actually put into a lot of difficulties on account of this. Industrial Development Regulation Act imposed heavy restrictions. This became a big issue the post-independence time. See, what happens is that when a lot of restrictions are there, the employers, particularly private employers, they were unable to expand. They were unable to compete, internally compete. They can export. It is out of question to, unless you get a permission from government, they will not allow you to export. So what happened? On one side, this low productivity, low margin, everything was the big picture. On the other side of it, the labor, they is agitating for higher wages. They were asking for higher wages. Hence, what happened during this period, we found lot of industrial unrest, lot of industrial strikes, lockouts, closures, whatnot. Everything was taking place on account of all these things. This is a major challenge, and it will be. In fact, even this one. Then, considering all these things, the government of India came again with a lot of representation from the employers that unless you permit us to expand, we can't do anything and all that. So then what happened? This first Labour Commission, chaired by Dr. Gajendra Gadkar, was formed in 1969 itself. So here they gave a specific agenda to them to review the changes in the existing condition of worker, to review the existing social legislative measures, and what improvement can be done so that the workers and the industry can be balanced. This is all. So this commission took
Uh,
a
Mr. Rao, my small request, if you can, uh, keep it short because
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
of the
I
limited
will
time
let
we
you.
have. Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes. I will do
sure.
that. I will do that. So here, the first Labour Commission came, and here what happened, the status was discussed. Here it started with the word need-based wages. This new concept came. This is what we find in the code today. There is need-based wages and national floor wages and integrated social security. These three topics were insisted upon by the commission in the first Labour Commission in 1969. This is how this started. This is how it started. And also they said that we should have common codes. They insisted on common codes because I can't tell you in detail. They said that we have to have common codes of all the organizations. Let's combine it and let's have common code. This is how it started. Then the industry's development here was that between after 2007 to 2002, as you know, in 2000. Penalty were various forms of form, nothing happened. Then the important thing was that the new economic reforms were brought in 1991. 1991. This was a major thing happened in our country. When 1990 economic reforms came, we entered into globalization. When we enter into globalization, the whole business and industry is uh, but compete with the entire global technology. For this purpose, we need a lot of what you call automation, rationalization, new methods and process, and also the quality. We wanted to for direct investment, and so many things came. It was a big challenge. Now here, one good thing was that the government of India removed all the restrictions on industries completely. Not necessary to take a license, you can start an industry. If you want to export, you can export very easily. This is the time. But we encountered a lot of issues from the trade union side. Because what happens was that because of legislations, there are restrictions on that. If you want to change in the working conditions like automation, etc., we need to approach Section 9A of the AD Act and take permission, which the government will not give or in the trade unions will not accept it. So this issue came. And also that, what do you call, um, automation, anything is just impossible. And this became a big issue. And layoff, retrenchment and closures, a lot of restrictions were there. So industry faced a lot of issues and problems in this case. Then what happened was that um, in 2002, another second National Labour Commission was formed in 2002 headed by Ravindra Verma. Now this commission gave a lot of inputs. Here is what they say that if you want to increase productivity, there is no law required for that. You have to use your own collaborative approach. Collaborative approach. It means that you need to understand the workers, you need to understand the
Uh,
labor, you need to
sir,
understand everything,
sir,
and then bring
sir,
collaboration.
Mr. Rao, my sincere request, if you can move faster on this, because otherwise we will not be able to cover everything.
Yeah, there is
We
no
will end
what.
up. Yeah,
Yes,
I think yeah.
yes.
So
Actually, this one,
no, but what you're saying is very interesting. What you're saying is very interesting. But the only thing is, we want to cover everything. In next 40
okay,
minutes.
okay.
You know,
Now here,
rather,
all these things led to form the codes. Actually, this recommendation was in 2002, but our government of India, they started initiative in 2017. This is how it started. Now, on account of this, because some of the bills were drafted by the commission itself, it will help. So here, this is the background of the four labor codes. What we are seeing today, four labor codes has come, and comparing 29 legislations, they started with this. This is an initiative what they have taken, and
so what?
and,
So what you're saying is this is something which is not a new development. It's something which has been growing up for more than 2 decades now.
yeah,
And then the requirement is coming from both industry, government, and at the same time from a union's perspective as well, because it's not just being developed or conceived by keeping one side view. It's a holistic idea which is going behind it. That's what I'm understanding is right?
yeah, you are correct. You are right. That is the whole thing. That is the whole thing which is important. But now the codes have been evolved. As you know, there are four codes we have. Code on wages, and then code on social security, what we are going to discuss today, then code on installations, and code on occupational health and safety and working conditions. These have been done. Now, this is the background of the entire thing. All the acts have been passed, approved by the Government of India in 2020 itself. Now, some of the states government have drafted rules, some have not drafted rules. Now we have to see how far the codes are going to come into effect. Now we will examine the provisions of the code. What are the important provisions of the code? Mr. Jeevarathnam, will you take over now?
Uh, Thanks, Mr. Jyant, considering me and the opportunity for today's session. And very much thankful to Mr. Vittala for giving a brief introduction right from the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, the current date. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, okay. Uh, in Code of Social Security, if at all, if you know, there are multiple acts has been subsumed. If it is like Employee Compensation Act, which is giving the benefit to the employees whenever there is a occupational injuries or occupational fatalities or anything. And later the ESI has come, wherein it is giving more benefit than employee compensation, and it is mandatory as well for the people who are drawing up to a certain limit of 21,000 rupees. And later EPF has come, Provident Fund has given is giving a lot of benefits like savings, as well as the pension benefits, as well as the insurance benefits in the form of EDL. And Employee Exchange Act has come for the giving the employment opportunities. And maternity benefit came for the welfare of the women employees, women workmen. And then Payment of Gratuity Act came for the retirement benefit. It is a kind of retirement benefit. It is like similar as EPF, and Gratuity is giving more retirement benefit. And the same way, senior workers welfare and senior workers, there was no much of welfare, and that is the reason senior workers welfare fund act has come. And BOSW is very key. And if you can see now, the most of the industries are construction industry. Any industry which is coming first it will be the construction, and then the building has to come. The building will come under the construction. It can be commercial, it can be residential, or it can be factory or anything. The first is building, and then rest of the acts will follow. As there is no much of benefits or no much of rules and regulations for construction, that is the reason that BOSW Act has come, and of course this has wherein is giving more of benefits to the construction workmen. And then Unorganized Workers Social Security Act, that is also there. Now all these acts have been subsumed to Social Security benefit, Social Security Act. And going under this, we'll see the main definitions and what are the changes, because having the very limited period, we can't go entire thing in deeply. We will see what are the changes and what are the definitions, what are the critical points we want to discuss. We can discuss all those things.
So, if I just look at, the previous slide, if you notice, these laws which are getting subsumed, they have been developed over last 100 years. Okay, Employee Compensation Act in 2023. So while I'm saying there are a lot of changes, amendments have been coming in, but the base remains same. And over a period only, these things have come up. So from an industry perspective, if I talk about from an organization perspective or from a from an employee perspective also, I think there's a dire requirement for us to relook at everything, because the way industry was there, the society was there, the economic scenario was there, many years back, vis-a-vis what it is today and vis-a-vis what we can expect in the next 10 years. It's drastically changed. We are expecting an AI to come in. We are expecting a lot of automation has come in every sphere of life. We were talking about a building construction act in 1996. From then to today, there are a lot of automation has come in building and construction also. There was a time when Spider-Man's were, today cleaning a skyscraper, but maybe in the next 5 years, you may not even see them. So there are, these are the, I think, very important aspect which needs to be considered because the scenarios have changed. And I think that was one of the key trigger points, so that you look things at holistically. And also one very important aspect, and as when I was something an analogy I was trying from what Sir mentioned talked about. See, there were time when if I would enter a company, I'll retire from the same company. I'll never change industry. I join in a paper factory and I'll retire from the paper factory. Not neither change of industry, locations, nothing will change. Not the company. But today people are evolving from one industry to another, industry they're moving. So when they are moving from one to another, and you have to make it attractive for him, or you have to also give a framework which is more holistic for him, which is similar to him. I can't certainly say, okay, I go to I join a construction industry, but I can't join a IT company. Somewhere some similarities have to be there, some basic parities have to be there, because society has evolved that way. I think that was one of those important aspects when we relook at these codes, when we try and understand these codes. I think this is something consideration.
No, these codes, what happened is that the background is that the whole intention is to do business. That was the dictum. What is the name given? They wanted to avoid employers in filing and registration at couple of number of repetitions. All that was the main focus of ease of doing business. That was the idea. But now, as the point what you mentioned is absolutely right, where we need to ensure the people that it's called retention. We need to take care of the retention of people in particular thing. Then only it can happen. That is why the second level commission clearly said it is purely managerial effectiveness in maintaining that. If you want the retention, there should be managerial effectiveness. If you don't know effectiveness, people will not stay there. They will just go away. That's exactly the commission reinforced. That is a very interesting thing to read in the report itself. Very exhaustive they put it. So this is for the HR to know very clearly that managerial effectiveness is the most essential thing for whatever you said just now.
And adding to that, no, you see, definitions in each and every act has entirely different scenarios. Wherein this combined code of social security, combined code of wages, everything, the definitions became similar. Then one definition for if it is a workman, it is one definition. If it is a wages, just one definition. Earlier, no, if each and every act there is a different definitions. If you see the wages in code of payment of wages act is different, PF act is different, ESI act is different. Take any act, it is entirely different. So there will be a lot of confusions, and because of that, there are a lot of compliance gaps also, and people cannot remember which definition we have to refer for what.
That's why
Those
they
are
uniform the entire
and
thing.
everything is being uniform. And even if you see, the documentation process.
Yeah.
If there is any work, construction work is happening, they have to maintain the documents as per the S&D Act, as per the CLR Act, where the contract labor is there, and if at all they engage interstate migrant workmen, they have to maintain the same registers, repetitive documents in ISM Act as well, and BOSW Act as well. So this will reduce the documentation
And the compliance burden as well.
Anyway,
compliance burden will
we
reduce.
should hope that it
And
matters. That's all.
and
We should hope.
and
When
one
it's implemented,
and Jeeva,
how far it is going to help us, we have to see. That's all.
right. And Jeeva, one
Yes.
very
Of course, there are a
important
lot of
aspect.
drawbacks also. There are a lot of
And
drawbacks, no doubt about it.
yeah,
But
and
anyway, yet we have to see.
yeah.
Yet we have to see.
So
Yeah. Let's move to definitions.
I think this is something which we, Jeeva just captured. Now coming on to this, this is the status of the social security codes in India, and you can find this complete details on our website as well, where the drafts have been notified, where the drafts have not been notified. I'm not saying in states which have been marked as blue, they have notified all the all the codes. So maybe there are some states like Delhi have notified more, possibly none, and maybe some states have notified only one or two rules. So not everybody has drafted everything, but primarily to see Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Meghalaya, and Delhi, they are yet to draft their rules for the labor codes. And you can use the below link, and Akshit is going to share this link on the chat as well. You can save this link. Where we are updating the status of the codes, from at the state level on a daily basis, where you can download the copy of the rules written, which has been notified by the states as well, and can keep yourself abreast with what's the status from the states level.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And also,
yeah.
and
Okay.
just one second, sir. So also want to mention, at Jiva, what you were saying, one very important aspect you touched on is are the definitions. Since we are into compliance space, and we have created global data, and specifically in India, we've created almost 2,000 laws in India. Trust me, as per the, we have read 1,000,000 pages of law in India, 75,000 plus document. And out of them, we have created 60,000 compliance obligation in different scenarios across states, every location, central laws, everything. But the most alarming thing is there are 85,000 definitions, 60,000 obligations, 60,000 compliance, but 85,000 definitions, 40% more than them. Posh, forget about anything else. Wages is something, which gets debated right now. But more than wages, I'm saying is even the plain definition of employee is not common. Posh says something else, a shop and establishment is something else, and EPF is something else, or gratuity will have a different definition. ESIC also will have a different definition. And that is what created a big confusion for the industry.
Adding to that, each state has its own definitions.
Exactly. Each state has its own rules and their own definitions.
Yeah.
And understanding them, and then trying to comply. It's not that I've understood the law and, for across India, I, implement the same policy, no. I may still have to, make some changes state-wise. And there are some, let's say take an example of Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, PT is not a state subject. It's a municipal subject. But PT in maybe Chennai and Coimbatore could be different. The different expectation could be there. So standardizing this is the basic.
Each and every village has its own. Every village, every town
has its own.
Now an attempt is being made in the labor laws to at least to cover certain differences. An attempt is being made in this code. That's the only thing. Of course, all the people are very familiar in the sense that for last 30, 40 years, because all the industry and including trade unions, they are very familiar with the existing laws. They know who is an employee, who is a worker, who is covered under ESI, who is not covered under ESI, who is covered. Everybody knows about it. It is in the heart. So that way, there is not much of a confusion now. But even, of course, in the code, luckily, they have maintained everything. They have maintained everything. Of course, some slight changes have been made here, there, and all that. Otherwise, the only thing is definitions are made common and applicable to all the codes. Take wages, it is common. Employee definition, yes. A worker definition, common. All these things are done, but it takes some time, I think, to get civilized. But now I don't see any problem. I don't see any problem in the code to go through the definitions and implement it, because all of us, everybody is familiar with this. Everybody knows about it. So this is an advantage.
Yeah, we want to add something here?
Yeah.
Yes, we'll go. See, we'll go for the definitions, like very critical points like contract labor. Contract labors, no, earlier, there are difference like contract labor and interstate migrant workers. Also. Any interstate migrant workers is hired through contractors, even is a contract workman as well as the interstate migrant workman. The benefits which is being extended to contract workmen, they will get. At the same time, the benefits, additional benefits, which is supposed to be given to interstate migrant workmen like displacement allowances and all, that will also add on to this. And the same ISMW is applicable for the principal employer as well. Even the principal employer is engaged directly to interstate migrant worker, then even they have to maintain that. In current scenario, it is not there. It is only through engaged through contractor. And the definition of employee PF and ESI for that, no, government is going to notify that the limits of the contribution. Based on that, they will be treated. For example, currently there is a ceiling limit of 15,000 for PF and ESI is 21,000. Those are the people are there. In ESI, it is considered as employees, and when PF, it is like covered employee and the rest are all excluded employees. But here it will become standard ceiling limit they might get, but we have to wait for the notification. And anybody beyond that limit, then they are not employees. Rest are all employees as per the Social Security code. And for others, employees same. Like if at you see other than chapter 3 and 4, for rest are all like maternity benefit or gratuity or if it's BOW benefits, everything it will be employees employee. And fixed term on contract. Currently, they have included the FTC, fixed term employment, fixed term FTC or FTE. Any employee who is having a contract for the specific period, maybe it can be 6 months, it can be 1 year, it can be 2 years. They are the fixed term employee or fixed term contract employee. They are the direct role employee. They will get all the benefits of the on-roll employees. And here in this case, one more additional benefit what they will get is like a gratuity. In current scenario, any employee is working for 1 year or 2 years on the fixed term contract, they will not get gratuity. In this code on wages, if it is implemented, the rules, then of course, even they will get the gratuity benefit. If it is 1 year or 2 years, whatever it is. Once the contract is completed, they need to get the gratuity for the specific period they work. And currently, there is no definition of home-based work. Currently, no act is covering that. But government is taking some actions to get the benefits for home-based work, also what are the social security benefits. Like they'll be producing some goods or they'll be providing some services to the employer, but they'll be working from home. Example, I can say like there may be some job works. Currently, they are not getting any benefit who are doing the job works. Like if you see, Agarbatti employees, they are doing some job work, and at the same time, garment industry. I'm just giving sample. There are many other industries wherein they are outsourcing those things to home. They are getting the services done, but the workers are not getting any benefits. Here they'll be covered. And self-employed is a kind of business who is doing. Currently, there is no social security benefits. Government is going to start a commission, and that commission will be addressing what are the benefits, how and how. Then only we can say. But there is certainly there will be some benefit for them as well. Unorganized sectors, like there are small industries where they'll be providing services, they'll be manufacturing something, or they'll be supporting the organizations in sale of goods or some, whatever it is. Like even small scale construction is also unorganized only. There'll be 5, 6 people who will be working in any construction, and they are not getting any benefits. So even they'll be covered in this case. And employer is any person who is engaging the employee, either direct or through contractor, whoever it is, and they are treated as employee. And of course, the legal representative of the deceased employee is also employee. For example, if husband is running a business and is an employee, and unfortunately something happens, he deceased, and the spouse will be the, by default it is considered as employee as per the current definition.
For this unorganized self-employed home-based workers, of course, the scheme is yet to come, because they have
Yes.
they had yet to form the commission board, and then they have to give the details. At the moment, no such initiative has taken by the government so far. When the code comes into picture, they have to immediately address this. Otherwise, these people will not be able to get any benefit in terms of everything. So this is one thing what we have to make, keep it in mind that when the board comes, the scheme is announced, then only it will be applicable. Otherwise, employer cannot do anything. Nobody can do anything. Because here, for all these people, there are no employers for this. There are no employees. Self-employed, there is no employee-employee relationship. Unorganized sector, there is no employee-employee relationship. Like this. Okay.
Yes. Next page, please.
Next, yeah.
Yes.
Gig workers, same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, gig workers. See, currently, if you see, there are a lot of people, like if you see that delivery persons like Swiggy, Zomato, etc., they are doing the services for the some company, but they don't have directly employee-employee relationship, so they are not getting any benefits. So even their benefit also is going to be addressed in current code. And platform, okay, social
No,
security
that can
organization.
happen only when they come to the National Security Board.
Yeah,
Section 6, that establish that the council has to address the issues for these people. How do they start monitoring? There is a proposal to see that they wanted to invite registrations of these people and give them a card, just like our Aadhaar card, they wanted to give a card for these people, and the collection of money from state government and central government, and some employers also through their social security fund, whatever it is. So this you have to see how the organization is social security board is going to be established and starts functioning. Until then, these people will not be able to get any benefit under this code, because they are come under the category of unorganized, unfortunately. But the purpose of the code is to help unorganized people. That is the purpose. But unfortunately, no quick action are being taken to address these issues so far. We have to wait and see how the government of India is going to do this.
there is a proposal, but so far there is no action. As
There's no
taken.
action, yes. We have to wait and
Yeah,
see.
that's right.
We have to wait.
Yeah, we have to wait.
Yeah.
And social security organization. See, currently there are organizations like there is separate organization for ESI, separate for PF, BOSW, etc. There are separate organization wherein it has its own benefits. Now it is going to club, and they are going to form like central board trustees for employee PF. and for ESI also. At the same time, National Security Board for unorganized, like for all these gig workers and all, you get the benefit that they're going to form.
No, it's
And
already there, it's already there. Most probably what they do is that, in fact, we have got this board of trustees, PF, and then we have
yes,
got Employee State Insurance Corporation constituted. We have now. And state, what do you call, Building and Workers
building
Welfare Board,
USW.
we have. We have. Probably that will continue. With some modification, they will continue. But the thing is, what they say is that they have to bring out the scheme. They say
They
that
might have the benefits, equal
they are not come out
benefits.
with the scheme. They are not come out with the scheme. That we have to wait and see.
Yeah, they might come with the
They are not
similar
come.
benefits for
You see,
across
although
the
it is
state.
2-year-old now, afterwards, 4-year,
Yeah.
the for various purposes, the everybody is silent. That's the whole problem. Yeah.
And the definition of establishment is any place where the industry or business, manufacturing or operation is carried on. Correct? See, each and every premises is treated as separate establishment. It is not like that you have office in one location, that is only the establishment. But all you have multiple locations, each and every premises is considered separate establishment, even currently, and of course, it is going to continue in future also. That which is included even the government establishment.
Yeah.
Okay. And unorganized workers. Currently, we are discussing like even the
Yeah,
home
same,
based
repeating.
workers.
Yeah.
It is just a kind of repeating. And platform workers, mainly if you see, people will be working on the online platform. Maybe like they might be developing some tools, they might be developing some software, maybe they might be working from home. Working from home in the sense like they'll be doing it's a kind of subcontract or some assignment they will take on personally, and they will be doing the work. They are not going to go to any office or anything. They will not get direct salary. They'll get some service charges, whatever. And those are considered as platform workers. Platform work and the people who are working into their platform workers, even they will get the social security benefit. Like if you see, nowadays many people they are designing the internet web pages. They might be designing the apps for mobiles. They might be developing small applications or softwares. They are not getting any benefits, and now they will be covered under based on the current. Still, they are yet to identify how, but still, of course, it's going to be covered very soon, and we have to wait for the actions necessary. And contractors.
So Jiva, this also platform work will also cover people like who are working in delivery platforms like Swiggy, Zomato. That's also
No, those
covered.
things might be covered into gig workers
Indirectly, they
mostly.
fall under the definition, comes under the social security scheme for unorganized sector. Probably they will come under that. So it has to be
And maybe
addressed.
in gig workers also. Even gig worker
Yeah.
also is kind of similar.
Yeah.
Okay.
And contractors is once again,
There's no change in the definition. Same thing.
there's no much of change. It is the same,
There's no
similar,
change.
same thing. No change. It is
I-
who is providing the
let's
manpower or
Same
any
thing.
services to any
Yeah.
industry. It's a contract
Yeah,
great.
same.
So
Same.
let
other than supply.
so
Yes.
great.
Same
So let's move next.
Yeah. This is important. Please explain.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
can explain this. You wanted specifically to add this point.
This is going to be interesting. So my request to everyone also to be pays more attention to this, because this particular definition on wages is going to make a lot of changes, a lot of difference, and a lot of resentment or conflicts or difference of opinion will also come because of this particular definition. I think it's
Yes,
important to understand. Yeah.
it has got many implications. The employer's financial liability will be very high. We take a PF, gratuity, bonus, and all these things, this definition of wages is a key factor, because it is going to shoot the financial liability of employer. Of course, it is beneficial to workmen, but for industry, it is a huge cost.
Okay.
Will you explain?
See, yeah, can you please continue on this, Mr. Rock?
Huh? Okay, I'll
Yeah.
explain. See here, what happens, the definition of wages is that basic plus DA plus all allowances payable in terms of money, etc., but excludes bonus, HRA, employee contribution to PF, ESI, conveyance, special allowance paid to defray certain expenses, any damage payable and settlement award, OT, commission, gratuity, it is excluded. Now put a rider. The rider is provided the total amount under the exclusions exceed 50% of basic and DA, then the difference shall be added on to the basic and DA for the purpose of wages. So this is a very tricky issue. Probably the background is, I'll take 1 minute. The background is, you see, uh, many people, many employees, what they used to do is that to save on the Provident contribution, they used to fix the DA and basic within the limits and put all components outside the basic and DA so they can avoid the PF contributions. So this was the case taken up, debated at so many platforms. Now here they wanted to address this issue. That's why they have put this as a trick. Now if you take the illustration, I have one small illustration. One case, basic DA is 8,000 rupees. Other allowance is 20,000 rupees. The excluded allowances. Now here you see, one half of 20,000 is 10,000. So 10,000, what happens? It exceeds by 2,000 the basic NDA. Hence, 10,000 shall be taken as wages for all purposes. For PF purpose and gratuity purpose, bonus purpose, whatever name it, where do you take it? So another example is just up. It is invisible.
Down.
Oh,
No, it is visible.
basic NDA is 10,000. Otherwise, it's 25,000. One half of 25,000 is 12,500. So 12,500 exceeds 10,000 by 2,500. So this 2,500 shall be added on to 10,000 and to make that, call it as 12,500 as wages for all purposes. So this definition is a very, very, very tricky definition. All the HR people must be thorough with this definition, because the moment the code comes into picture, the first exercise for all the HR people will be to attack this issue. This is a very, very tricky issue. So HR people must know and conceptually understand this thing, whatever it is. So this
Yeah, I would like to add some more point. See, currently there is no law. Many companies are maintaining the basic as 20%, 30%, 40%, or anything. Basic. And they are considering all the benefits under the same thing. And many people are confused what should the basic be. Currently, there is no any rule. Better to consider as at least the minimum wages. But when the code on wages comes, we have to ensure that the basic should be, the basic condition should be 50% on the gross salary and not less than the minimum wages.
No, that's
These are
only
the points.
50%. What we talk is only an inference, but actual
Yes.
calculation must be done like this. Actual calculation. Because of
Yeah,
course,
if at all we maintain 50% of basic and yeah, that will be easy as well.
Okay, yeah.
Administratively, that will be easy as well.
Yeah, it will be easier. If you keep the basic NDA above the PF limit, then the question will not come. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let's move next.
Yeah, go to next. Yes.
PF, there are no changes at all. Here, no changes.
Only the schedule they are removed, rest are all the same thing in PF.
No, they say there's no this one.
Yeah, otherwise its applicability is the same, 20.
Everything is same. There are no change in the PF. There is no change, except the government has not power to employee contribution can be 10%, or central government may prescribe 12% to certain establishment that is there. But of course, it's on paper, but nobody can reduce it. See, today I contribute 12%. If I make it 10%, which worker will keep quiet? They will oppose. So the government spells it. Probably no changes will be there here. As the PF is concerned, No change. Though you say here, actually there are no changes. That we do not worry about it.
Yeah,
So,
even
sir,
the
tell
ceiling
me,
limit, they are not
but
yet defined.
so,
Yeah.
Mr. Rao, the other day we were discussing about, one of your, you gave an example of why workers are more keen to have, a higher PF than a lower PF. Because if I talk about tier one towns and, the knowledge workers specifically, they are happy to have more in-hand salary than PF reduction. But if I talk about the industrial workers, for them, I think they are more keen to have PF, higher PF than lower PF. So you gave an inference about the interest rate and how it is gets calculated. So maybe if you can elaborate a little more on that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But generally, what happens is that the 10% reduction will be for limited industries like small scale, this one, that one, and all that. But various these organizations like software or manufacturing thing, I don't think they will reduce from 12% to downward. They will not do. They will not do. Probably the way no one there is voluntary contribution is there. The employee can contribute more than the 12%. He can contribute, but of course, employee will not contribute. But the employee will contribute more than 12%. For that, there is no limit. Equally, he can contribute and he will get the benefit of interest, etc., etc. He will get it. He will get it. But probably, I think this also will not change, or they may not alter this. They may not alter.
They might change only the ceiling limit for the PF.
That
There
is
might be
true.
change.
Yeah,
There
actually,
might be
there is
change.
a to make it 25,000 instead of 15,000 the proposal. I think probably it will come through shortly. It may come. It may come. Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
But
Go
but
to
but
the
in
next.
if that happens, the companies where who are doing a PF reduction on minimum requirement will have to increase that ceiling, which means more contribution will for higher income bracket people would go towards the PF reduction, and it'll impact their take-home salaries. Is that understanding correct?
No, if they substantially increase from 12% to something else,
No,
or
no,
of
I'm saying
course,
it's 15 to 25,000. What you said,
no, here what
15,000.
happens, correct, correct. Here what happens, the people, I'm afraid I'm not contributing because of 15,000. With 25,000, I need to contribute. The management also has to contribute. So this is an additional liability for the employer. The employee also has to contribute because it goes as a saving, but the employer's liability will be there because he has to contribute extra contribution. That is the kind
Right,
of thing.
Yeah,
right.
take home salary we might reduce, but at the same time, the savings will be more. At the same time,
Yes.
at the same amount they are getting additionally from the employer. There is additional benefit to the employee as well.
Yeah.
And such things, being as HR, we have to give proper awareness or guidance to the workmen because they might restrict initially. We have
Yeah.
to educate them properly. What are the changes? How we have to address the change management accordingly. Then only we have, if we guide, then only they will understand. Otherwise, there might be some agitation. There might be some challenges
Sure.
when the
So,
employer has to
Yeah.
take.
yeah, I think let's
Yes,
let's move let's move
Uh,
next.
yeah,
Yeah.
ESI is concerned, there are no changes,
no,
no changes, except of course the gig worker, platform workers, unorganized sectors. For them, they need to cover that will take effect only after the council is formed and the process is put on. At that time only it comes, otherwise till such time nothing. That's the thing. Here, definition of wages impact employee this thing also, what is called limit of coverage of ESI. This one, because this might give some kind of a problem because today ESI contribution means it includes of everything. It includes
yes,
everything except from you. But now in this code, they have mentioned wages. Wages means I'm restricting myself only to 50% of the gross. Presently, I am paying full contribution on the gross. After the code comes into picture and wages, it will be 50% only I contribute. Probably this may affect the employees. This is what facility what they get. Probably. So this way yet to see how the things are addressed because this is a tricky issue. This is a tricky issue.
Yeah,
Then
Akshit, let's move.
one more thing here is that if an industrial injury happens or if any sickness happens, if anything happens on account of the fault of the employer in not taking care of the safety precautions, ESI has to definitely give the benefit to them. They will give the benefit. But the amount of benefit ESI has given, that will be recovered from the employer. This is a new provision now here in this. It means that if I'm not careful, I have to pay the penalty. If I don't have safety measures, then I have to pay the penalty. So this is another important thing. Of course, this is a good thing because the employers will become alert in installing safety process, safety everything in the shop floor. This is important. I think it's a good alteration, a good what you call change.
Changes.
I think it should be
Code
made.
changes.
Yeah. Otherwise, there are no changes. Yeah.
And
Sure. Sure. I think
Gotcha.
Jiva, we need to move faster because I'm, it's
yes.
already
Yeah.
we have already exhausted on our time.
Yeah.
No, gratuity also applicability. There is no
Gratuity
change.
also no changes except
No
fixed term
changes.
employment. That's all. As
Yeah,
you
FTC where
explained,
already we have covered.
So except
Yes.
that, there are implications. And upper cap is also the government has got powers. Today it is 20 lakhs. Tomorrow they may enhance to some other some few upper limit they may enhance. But formula everything is there. But here one caution is that the gratuity should be calculated on new definition of wages. Today I am
Yes.
paying only on basic and DA. But now here what happens here after wages, that is 50% I have to pay the gratuity. So this is an additional liability for the employer.
Which they might not have factored in their, in their books by now. With the change definition, obviously their provisioning in the books would also have to be changed.
Yeah, definitely,
Yes.
definitely, because this is a legal claim. Because
Because the definition of wages has changed.
So we can't do anything.
So which means this is going to be a major impact and maybe a one-time major impact and a one-time adjustment in the provisions
yes,
also.
Exactly.
I think this is something which I request everyone to note down because this is something which will impact and have any ramification on one time, and obviously going forward it will. But one-time adjustment is something which would be required in the books if this provision is
if the employers have got their own trust and then taken a policy for payment of gratuity, probably they can make some annual payment they may make that can be taken care of this increased liability.
But one time they will have to still make
that's right. That's inevitable.
Right.
The correction they have to make, the provisions
or
to the policy or something.
Yeah, that they have to.
Sure.
Otherwise, no changes.
Let's move.
Yeah.
Yes. Go to the next one. Maternity benefit also there is.
Maternity benefit, there are no changes.
No change. Common fees, even now it is there.
Yeah, everything is there now.
Even now it is there. There is
absolutely no change in it. No
changes.
Yeah. Absolutely no change. Yeah.
Okay,
we can
go to the slide. This is a very important point. All the employees and the HR person, they have to ensure that all the returns, everything what we are going to do, and what are the compliances we have to ensure. Currently, the implications are very less, but of course, if this is implemented, the impact maybe like penalties or imprisonment is very huge. So we have to ensure the timely depositing of returns or remittances, and any reports, maybe fatality accidents, especially to factories or construction industries, mines, we have to timely report to them. And maintenance resistance records is very key, and you have to first chalk down what are the registers we have to maintain, and that has to be maintained without any exclusion. And any compensation which is to be paid, that has to be paid on time. The same intimation of vacancies. Now, many states is not seriously looking into that, especially that Employment Exchange Act. But of course, the Code on Social Security will be very critical. It will play a very critical role, and we have to keep on intimating them on every quarter or the periodic what going to schedule. And all the displays of abstracts and notices or benefits, whatever. And if you see many of the organizations currently, I can see many of the organizations doesn't have any such abstracts or displays, whatever it has to be displayed. I can many of the organizations I'm saying, and it is not there, but we have to ensure everything. And pay slips or wage slips or uh, that has to be issued either it can be soft copy or it can be hard copy, whatever all the workmen or employees should get it. But currently there are some gaps in that when we have to avoid those things.
There are two things which I, want to add here is, see, this is only going to reduce the burden, and make compliance more easier. And I would, relate this scenario to what happened in GST, when that all the tax laws got subsumed in, one GST Act. Uh, the governance level increased. The complication went down, but the governance level increased. So I think that is one change in mindset. As what Jiva said, a lot of companies do not have a abstract today. It is a very small thing, but still a lot of companies don't. Because sometimes you feel it creates an aesthetically it doesn't look good, so you don't want to spoil your reception with this. But with the changes, I think we'll have to get more focused on ensuring these compliances.
Yes.
Maintenance of registers.
Yes.
It reduces the numbers, but it makes it more important. So
Yeah,
we have
very
to be.
important.
Yes.
Very important.
Today when I
Yeah.
talk to a lot of HR folks, they take these compliances very very lightly. But tomorrow,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
when these and I think with the changes coming in, please learn it from your company secretary in your organization. They would teach you, and tell you how to maintain register well, and how to maintain them without fail. But these things have to be taken more seriously, because the burden is reducing, and finding non-compliance becomes much easier.
Very important. Very important. It is the responsibility of HR to see that the compliances are properly maintained. Otherwise, if you see the next slide, you will see the punishment and penalties. It is horrible.
And I like to share something. Currently, in couple of places, we implemented the displays in digital mode. It looks very good, and it covers all the ads. People might come with some such different modes also, but it has to be displayed. And you see, however you make it beautification or anything, you plan it. Nobody will question, but the content has to be there, and the abstract has to be displayed.
Yeah, those things have to be followed. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The
So,
offenses are
and
horrible.
one more thing is like you prepare a checklist. What are the registers, records, and remittances? You can say RRR. Registrations and licenses one, and remittances returns is one, and records maintenance. All these are factors. If you maintain one checklist, follow month on month whether it is compliant or not compliant. You yourself check it, and you will ensure the compliance. Otherwise, it will be very painful to the organization. See the impacts, the fines and penalties. Failure to pay deposit contributions, it will go 1 lakh, and it will go to the imprisonment as well. If it is repeating, it will go 2 years imprisonment and up to 2 lakhs fine also.
Here, the minimum fine itself is 50,000.
Yeah.
In all the laws, in all the code, minimum fine itself is 50,000.
As per the current act, it is even 500. There is no
very serious thing.
imprisonment.
Very serious.
Yeah. Coming, it is all, if you see it is 50, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakhs. So these are the things we have to ensure that returns, remittances, all the compliances, we have to ensure on time.
And one important aspect which I want to mention here, and where I feel there could be a change required in the mindset of the way we look at compliance. See, today if I look at the PF Act, every compliance in the PF Act is critical, super critical, because either it has an operational impact, which means your operations can be seized, or it has an imprisonment. Now, sometimes when everything is super critical, nothing gets critical, right? Now
Yes.
we have become so used to that, that we don't even care about super criticality because everything is critical. Now, with two instances happening at the same time, one is the Jan Vishwas Act, and second is Jan Vishwas Act 2, which we are expecting, bill rather, second, we are expecting them to happen in the, to be present in the parliament now, this session, where government is trying to reduce the penalty and specifically imprisonments in many places, wherever it is there, right?
Yes.
That's been an attempt of government. And, if you look at the Jan Vishwas, also the first one, the main impact happened on the HR laws and EHS laws. Now, here, when government is trying to reduce the penalties, wherever the penalties are there, implications of it could be very serious. And now, earlier we never have seen that a director can be, while a notice can be sent on the director's name, but we don't take it seriously because we know we can manage it all. That's how been in an HR. Right.
Yeah.
Whereas you talk to a company secretary, you talk to a finance guy, they will not say that we can manage compliance because they know the
Yes.
power of a regulator and they take it very differently.
Yeah.
I think it is this, with these penalties and offenses being reclassified, and with those, Jan Vishwas income coming in, the impact on directors and the board could be very, could be higher. So one has to possibly make a shift in their thought process in how we are going to deal with this compliance. And another additional aspect I'll tell you now. See, today with the technology coming in, everything is getting tracked. You can't escape anything which happened, and you can't manage anymore. And if you see what happened in in GST, what happened in income tax, don't go by just the filing. I'm saying these all things could be required, because today most of the companies are going for compliance solutions. They're automating things. They are maintaining things. So those, all the documents could be maintained somewhere, in soft copies, in somewhere. Digital trails will be available. So it's important that we understand and we the implications, and we do it in spirit now, because the burden has reduced. And imagine, also try and understand one thing. With all these changes happening, you may also see some of those departments getting merged. Now, number of inspectors, the regulators would come to you would be lesser, which means when they come, it'll be serious discussions. So, but don't go by the numbers. I'm saying is 50,000 for a large enterprise doesn't make a difference. You can always pay a 50,000 fine and get away with this.
Yeah.
But if it is imprisonment, and go by the definition of the occupier, go by the the details required in your in your registration form, your directors, the board are always there. Okay.
Yeah.
It can get impact them, and that's where the criticality will be higher.
Exactly.
Sorry, I've taken a longer time, but I think this is important.
Right. You have to take the spirit into account and manage the compliance. Otherwise, it's a very, very difficult thing.
Or rather, I would say,
and unfortunately, our employers have not taken up this issue with the government so far. They are not raised this issue at all. All employer bodies, they are just keeping quiet. But ultimately, it becomes on the HR's shoulder that they have to take care of the compliance.
Right. And in fact, I was somewhere also reading, now, earlier, in some laws, in some case, I'm forgetting that case, it's also the person in charge who's at stake, who could be implicated in such cases of non-compliances. And there have been some precedences also. So don't, I can't just shrug off my responsibility, say, oh, I have done it, I have not done it, the organization is responsible. No, it could be me also, as a person in charge of doing this compliance, could be implicated also. The ramification,
the impact. Right. Take
there are some
under Factories Act, there is a clear-cut position. The occupier can delegate the looking after safety, etc., to a particular head of the department. In such case, what happens? The occupier shall not be prosecuted, but the concerned HOD, he will be questioned. He will be prosecuted. There is a
Right.
provision under Factions Act that is there. Similar thing can happen also because that I have come across many, some 1 or 2 judgments in this regard,
Case laws are
where the
there.
board
Case laws.
has passed a resolution to hand over certain things to so and so, they will take the responsibility. There are certain things. But of course, ultimately, we have to be careful and cautious in all these matters.
Yeah, Akshay, let's move next. So let's move to FAQs, and meantime we will also
Yes.
try and see if there are some questions on the chat. We will try and take those questions as well. Meantime, my colleague Nikita has shared some links. You may want to also look at those links. Yep. My question to Jiva and Mr. Both of you: is there any option to opt out or to opt in regarding
Yes,
coverage of
yes.
establishment in EPF and
Yes,
ESIC?
it is not something,
Uh,
even in the existing provision also there is a provision to exempt, because what happens under PF, one can go for a formation of a trust to take care of the Provident Fund administration of the for the particular establishment. There is a provision. So that is permissible under the code. Even ESI also, there is a provision. If the, what you call the establishment provides the benefit not less than the benefits of ESI, then ESI will grant exemption for a particular 1 year, and then they review and then extend it. There is a provision, but a lot of things to do for this. There is a provision. And under this code also there is a provision.
There are provisions, but for under ESI, they will not go for exemption because of the
No,
benefits
nobody will
what we
go,
have.
because what happens under ESI, who is going to pay so much of benefit? It's
Yeah,
difficult to maintain. It's
EF
difficult
at
to
least okay, but not in
Yeah,
ESI.
yeah,
The benefits which is extended in ESI is huge.
that's right.
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah, next question.
yes.
Can there be any grounds wherein exemption of establishment from the applicability of Chapter 3 EPF and Chapter 4 ESIC is ascertained under the Codes of Social Security 2020?
Can there be grounds where the exemption? I told you already, it can
Yeah.
be.
Same thing.
Right.
Yeah, same thing.
Right. So
Same
let's move next.
Same.
Akshay.
Yeah, same thing.
Career
Career
centers.
is nothing but an employment exchange. This is something new.
So
It is
now,
just a change in the name.
now what do you see? How do you see this career center thing now? Shaping up, because till today I don't see people taking employment exchange very seriously. I think that gets sometimes
Yes.
I. So do you think there is a focus of government, because sometimes people feel, and I should not be quoted, but I see it's going to be on the net. But people feel, many times I've spoken to people, they feel being non-compliant is a better option than doing compliance in in the employment exchange. But what is your view on are we going to expect any change in a career
I
center?
don't think so. I don't think so, because what happens, if you see the current trend, this one, any graduate will not go and register in the employment exchange at all. First of all, he is not going to register. He say, what is this? He will go directly to somebody, he will get a job and get out of that. Here, the people who go and register in the employment exchanges for this one has become very, very, very low. So even under this career center, though they have specified their objectives and activities for the career center, it's almost same. But I don't think this will make a drastic improvement in the present status. It's only change in the
It's only a new packaging and nothing else.
nothing.
They might come up with some skill development or something also, considering all the collection of penalties, fines, what are they going to charge. They might shape up some kind of skill development also in the career centers.
Right.
There might be possibilities.
Okay, but as of today, there's nothing like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Next. Okay, great. So let's go back. Actually, we will come back onto this in a while. So there are a couple of other questions. But I'm reading a lot of these questions, but I think not all of them we can address. One of these is, once a code are implemented, can a gratuity is paid to be, I think we've addressed this, that new definition of wages have to, is something which we'll have to consider once the codes are implemented.
Yeah.
By when are we expecting the code to be implemented? See, there are very strong postures from the government, what we are seeing right now, wherein government is keen to implement these code. So they have also written to the, as one of those India map we showed you, there are some states who have not yet come up with the rules. Now, Mr. Rao, this is one of the questions, and I think what we discussed. What happened if if the states don't support? And they don't come up with a rule. Do central government have an power to enforce the rules without states?
Central government can definitely send notification saying that the central rule shall be deemed effect, and you have to follow that. That's the authority, the power is there because a central act it will given. Now coming to implementation of code, just yesterday the finance minister had a meeting with the trade unions and other parties for pre-budget session. This topic came, implementation. All the trade unions have totally opposed, totally opposed. We will not accept these codes. Just yesterday, it has come. So the government has to step in a lot of platform to see that is done before the code comes into picture, because there will be severe opposition. Because yesterday, all the unions have resisted this. It's just yesterday. So this we have to see. Yeah.
Okay. Are there any implications if we post vacancies in the company portal rather than share it with the employment exchange? See, as you have to follow the law says you will have to notify. You can publicize anywhere else, on your company portal, on the LinkedIn social media, or the job sites. But you are supposed to inform the so employment exchange as well. That's a requirement as per the law.
Yeah, that's the requirement. You're absolutely right. It has to be done.
Let me read a couple of more questions, whether these penalties are common for all codes or different for all code. So a question is whether these penalties are common for all codes or different for each code. So I'm thinking these are, instead of so many laws, you have now these 4 laws. Okay. You can, the penalties defined in each of these codes is specific to that code, and the findings required is specific to that particular code only. So these penalties are what today we are discussing is Social Security Code. It is relevant to this code only.
Exactly.
Okay. Whether the ESIC is applicable for mines, okay. The answer is, it is applicable, and the new codes are applicable on everyone. The government is even trying, all this welfare requirement for specific industry, they're all merging into one. So this will be required, new codes will be implemented for all of them.
Yeah, all the in mines also it will be implemented.
Right.
Mines also
social, if gratuity is taken on CTC and he is resigned after a year, the gratuity payable or not. Sir, if gratuity deducted from CTC and she resigns after 1 year, then gratuity payable or not to employee. If you are making gratuity as a part of the current requirement, if you are making as a part of your CTC, you have to pay the gratuity. If you are paying over and above the CTC, then as per the requirement, 5 years is what you will have to.
No, that's only by interpretation of the employment contract. That's all. Because law says very clearly, 5 years afterwards I will pay gratuity. But if this CTC, if he is mentioned and if he leaves after 1 year and if he claims, it's a contractual understanding. It's a commercial contract. I have agreed to pay so much, I have to get so much.
So I think CTC, it is not a deduction at all. It is just a contribution. It is considered for book of account. It is not deduction.
No, so there are some companies which are writing, with the way they are drafting the CTC.
They pay.
They mention it as a part of the CTC. In those scenarios, it gets deemed that you are deducting. So you're deducting that money from the employee's salary, CTC. So here, if you have to see how you're writing the employment contract and how you are issuing the
Yeah,
offer letter. I think
yeah.
more
At
of
least,
it goes from the
yeah,
interpretation.
it doesn't hold in law
Yeah.
because the
No,
employee can keep it and after
it
fetch
go
an
as per the Indian Contract Act.
difficult to maintain.
Oh, great. I think, there are still many questions coming in. Won't be able to address all of them right now because we are, already at 5 o'clock. I just want to thank Mr. Rao and Jiva for this session. And one other, ask has come. We have covered social security and wages. What about the remaining two? We will be coming up with the follow-up, webinars on these two, codes also. And we may also be doing some follow-up session as we have more clarity about the government stance on the implementation of these codes. Because, there are a lot of granular things which are coming up. There are a lot of, I would say, queries which will come up once the rules are framed at a state level. So we would come back and do more of these sessions, and specific they may be more pointed towards specific queries and specific expectations. So until then, my request to you all will be, if you have if you are using a compliance solution, by default you will get to know about the next sessions. If you're not, please go onto our website, subscribe to our newsletter. You would get a copy of, you'll get to know about all the upcoming webinars through our mailers. Uh, you can also log on to our or subscribe to our YouTube channel, where this video will be posted in a couple of days, so that you are in, you have these session recordings handy with you. You can refer back to them anytime, because you are going to need some of these once the codes are implemented. You may want to refresh your memories at that point of time. And last thing, from as as discussed in the last our logical talk as well, that this initiative of our Community Connect team has received a lot of appreciation from the industry. And this is for our 14th logical talk, what we concluded today. And with this, we are now, from next month onward, we are also opening ourselves to a global arena. Our idea is to give industry and perspective about how to be better compliant and how to ensure that these compliances help in the growth of organization. I think we want to go beyond India now. And this in the upcoming webinar, which is scheduled for 18th of July 2024. We are also inviting some global guests, Mr. Brian Kraft, who is a ESG and corporate strategy advisor for the Emphasis Group, and my colleague Anurag Jain. You have heard him quite a few times earlier. We would be discussing on one global modern slavery regulations, wherein we would pick up different, modern slavery regulations in different countries and how it impacts us in India, and how, as an Indian organization, if we are looking at outwards and global businesses, how we should prepare ourselves for that. Your registration links will be mailed to you very soon. Request you all to register for this webinar. This is going to be a very interesting one. And as the technology has a limit, we will have limited slots also for this. And I'm expecting a lot many people to register. So when a moment you get this registration link, my request will be to please register yourself. We would look forward to have you back for this discussion as well. Thank you so much once again to
Thank
Mr.
you.
Rao and Jiva, and thank you everyone.
Thank you.
We
Thank
we
you,
have
everyone.
Thank
we have
you.
overshot
Thank you.
we have overshot our time, but you've been pretty patient. Thank you for
Okay.
this.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Have a good day,
Right.
everyone.